coming up on FTC Top 25, we're back for the center stage season with 25 amazing teams comprised of your votes from the community. We'll count down the list, give some insights into these teams, and have a couple giveaways and more. So let's get ready for the December FTC Top 25.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. Discover how Kettering University students engineer their success with Kettering's amazing co-op employment programs where students earn great pay and gain valuable experience. Those accepted into Kettering University can apply for a robotics scholarship, providing up to an additional $5,000 a year in tuition assistance. Head on over to kettering.edu/first to learn more and apply.
Welcome to the FTC Top 25. Welcome to the FTC Top 25, where we reveal the top 25 teams that you voted for. From First Updates Now, I'm Abbas, and joining me tonight, we have a bunch of new hosts, Buru, Miriam, Thomas, and our producer Tyler behind the scenes. We're so excited to have you all back for the center stage season, and for so many of you to participate in voting for FTC Top 25. Make sure next month you keep an eye out for when voting opens to cast your votes, and we have 2 giveaways today, including a fun t-shirt to a random live viewer, 3 Omni wheels to a random live viewer, and a micro Axon Micro and Micro B25T arm to a random team who made the top 25. So stay tuned throughout the show to hear how to enter and win these. Let's just jump right into the December FTC top 25. Miriam, who are we starting off with?
Starting off our first top 25 for the center stage, we have team 11228 Overclumped Bocht from Michigan. At the Michigan Fruitport qualifier, they set the 4th highest score in the world at 262 points with Robotics, as can be seen from the video. They have an active intake that is efficient with intaking from the pixel stacks, making them a versatile partner. Besides that, they have a deposit angled to be parallel to the backdrop, and in endgame it looks like they could hang with a winch mechanism and have a zone 2-3 drone. Overclumped Bocht is always strong, so I can't wait to see how they perform throughout the season.
Yeah, I think they're a great choice for our first team in the top 25. As you said, Miriam, always a strong bot. I know they made it very far into the Michigan state championship last year, if not winning it. And this year, I think they've gone with a robot that's a really typical design, but it's typical because it works so well. So, I think just as they continue grinding throughout the season, working on making their cycles faster and faster, they're really going to continue putting up so high scores. Yeah, Buru, you want to talk about our next team?
Okay. Placing 24th in the top 25 is team 16417 ROC from Richmond Hill, Canada. So far, they have great results this season, taking the Inspire Award and winning a last captain in the Center Scarborough qualifier, going undefeated in qualifications and playoffs. Last season, too, we didn't see a lot of these teams robot until awards time, but when they showed up, they did great. I'm very excited to see what this team will bring in the future.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate that their competitions aren't streamed or it's so difficult to find videos. But, to all our viewers out there, first, I don't really understand how you're voting for a team if you can't see their robot. Yes, their scores are great, but, you got to see the robot. And second, if any of you do know what ROC looks like or have any context, definitely, get us in contact. We love to meet new teams, show them off, and, see all the great things that they're doing. But in the meantime, we'll go on to 23rd. So in 23rd, we have team 16460 Gearheads from Brookfield, Wisconsin. Their only competition so far was about 2 weeks ago, but they were the captain of the finalist alliance at that qualifier and had a 50-point auto and super fast cycles, as we'll see on the screen. They have a really, really cool deposit mechanism that can slide side to side in order to drop anywhere on the backdrop, and I think it'll be super useful for mosaics and just allowing them to place at the same time as their partner. One thing I'm really interested in is if they do use that to their advantage to sit on the side of the backdrop and then extend over so that they can better work with a partner. I'm really, really hoping we get to shoot it behind the bot with them. They build super innovative robots year after year, and Center Stage is definitely no exception. What do you guys think about them?
I've seen this bot before in Discord, I think. It has a lot of innovative features. I love the way they place pixels. Somehow they grab them one over each other and then drop them separately, I think. Their linear which moves the pixel horizontally, is also on a differential system with a lift, I think, which is also pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I don't think it's possible to get it to be that snappy without having it on a Diffie, because otherwise your lift would just be so slow because it's so heavy. But they had that active intake in power play last year, so they're definitely super well versed with how to make good intakes, and they've done it this season again. Yeah, Thomas, you want to talk about our 22 team? Sure. So going on to 22 now, we have Team 17315, Westwood Tomahawk from Austin, Texas. They're currently ranked fourth in the First in Texas Gems League, and their robot is very innovative. They have a smaller profile drivetrain with a very fast, efficient, and effective deposit that allows them to just have really, really good precision of each pixel that they deposit. I think Texas in general is just a very tough region. So shout out to Westwood Tomahawk for doing so well. And those small robots are always very interesting to see, just because they're so much more maneuverable around the field. And I think that's definitely very important this season.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of my favorite robots this year. I've loved what they have to offer, especially their deposit really allows them a lot of precision when placing on the field.
For sure. So we've already talked about one Michigan team. In 21st, we have another. We have team 10644 Cybugs from Saline, Michigan. They currently have an OPR of about 105, recently competing at the Michigan South Central League tournament, and setting the world record of 292 points with Team Swarm, which I believe is one of their sister teams. So this world record is just kind of crazy to me. It's about 25, 30 points over the previous record. And all of that is coming from teleop. They just got so many more points in that teleop period. And Cybugs has a really interesting design. First, they have that virtual four bar and then a long arm on top of it. Looks like they're able to get enough reach to all portions of the backdrop with it. And second, their claws are just so far apart. The first time I watched this video, I was a little curious or unsure as to why they have them so far apart. And then as I kept thinking about it, I realized it may be so that they can pick up from both stacks, both pixel stacks, and just take the top one off of each one every time. So I'm really interested to see if they implement something like that for the future. I know Michigan State's isn't very far away, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this robot really good overall. I mean, they have the world record. It's also just like amazing, like drivetrain super fast. Their placement is great. So yeah, I think overall, really good robot.
And from the end game perspective, they launched that drone from so high because of their virtual four bar, and they hang very consistently as well. So really, really great job from Cybugs. Buru, you want to go ahead and talk about number 20?
Yep. Spot number 20 is taken up by Team 11129 Novi Robot Titans from Novi, Michigan, as the name suggests. They have really impressive results so far. They took part into competition and won them both as a captain, and also went undefeated in qualifications. What I think is really interesting about them is their strategy. They went for mosaics most of the time, not focusing on placing that many pixels. I think they got a mosaic in most, if not all, the matches they played in the last qualifier. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's interesting.
Yeah, and these Michigan teams, like, they have to iterate so quickly, considering their state championship is always in like early to mid December. So can't wait to see how they do. Miriam, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So taking rank 19 is Team 16377 Spicy Ketchup from Universal City, Texas. Currently, they are ranked first in their league, and they have an active intake with a smooth transfer. They can do the drone and hang relatively quickly, which allows plenty of time for the fast cycles that they do during teleop. I really can't wait to see how they continue to improve the robot this season.
Yeah, I think Thomas, you might be a little excited to speak about this robot. You want to go ahead and
Uh,
talk about
yeah.
some stuff?
Yeah. So this is my team. If y'all didn't know, we had a pretty good competition last competition, and we're very happy to be on the top 25. And yeah, probably one of my favorite things about this robot is our drone mechanism, and basically since it's nested inside of our climb arms, so we're able to just be able to adjust the angle of our drone and get the perfect launch angle every time.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And so, just looking on for the rest of the season, when is your next competition? And how's it looking for that?
Yeah, so our next competition is uh, January 13th. And yeah, we're looking to make some changes. Can't quite reveal what they are yet, but lot to see.
Yeah. All right, let's go on.
All right. So coming in at rank 18 is team 19458 Equilibrium.exe from Potomac, Maryland. At their most recent qualifier this past weekend, they were the
Yeah, so as Thomas was saying, at their most recent qualifier this past weekend, Equilibrium was the finalist alliance captain and won the Inspire Award. So they have honestly one of my favorite robots this season, a super innovative extending active intake. We didn't see too much action from it yet, but maybe in the future we will. And a claw deposit. I think one thing that's really interesting is they brought back that nose picker design that they had last season, and it worked really well. So it makes sense to bring it back, and it seems like they have really good control over where to pick the pixels, place the pixels. I think one thing that's pretty interesting with them is the passive hanging mechanism. We've seen a lot of talk about it with teams, so seeing someone implement it now is pretty interesting, and seeing like how it turns out. But honestly, I think Miriam, you're much better equipped to talk here. So anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think our robot is okay. I mean, I really like, the nose picker, as you mentioned. We've kind of turned it into a whole face hugger since, 2 pixels. Um, yeah. And then, the passive hang. Unfortunately, it didn't work quite as well as we were hoping, mainly due to rulings from Jeff the ref, but it's all fun, It worked for a few matches until we were told that we weren't getting the points because we weren't swinging enough.
I see. Yeah, I mean, plenty of time to improve for the next competition. I think it's what, like 6 or 7 weeks away.
Yeah, January 20th.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure we'll see that same consistent performance that we expect from Equilibrium.exe. All right, in 17th place, we have Team 21171, Marvels of M12 from Richardson, Texas. They have a design similar to another robot we'll talk about later tonight, but I think they really executed it well at their league meet this weekend. Currently, they have the fourth highest OPR and teleup OPR, averaging 13 pixels and 2 mosaics on the backdrop each match. At first glance, this might not seem that much. People are like, oh, 13 pixels, that's only 6 or 7 cycles. But the thing is, to do that in a competition, it really is a lot more difficult than when you're just driving back and forth on a practice field. So huge props to Marvels of M12 for pulling that off. Overall, I think that once they speed up their deposit a bit and make that drone consistent, they're really, really going to be a force to reckon with. And of course, they have a super tough league. Yeah, Baru, do you have anything to add about this robot?
For a long, looking at this robot, for a long time I thought it was automated for the deposit part. It's really impressive how well they execute the depositing action each time. I think that shows a lot of driver practice and skill. I like it
Yeah,
a lot.
and yeah, and I think we'll be talking about a similar mechanism a lot later
Mhm.
tonight as well. So yeah, we can go on to 16th. Miriam, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So placing 16th is team 9974 from Johnston, Iowa. With the 11th OPR in the world, I think this team is going to be a powerhouse. I noticed that they have linkage slides, which is not something I've seen from many teams this season, but it seems to be working well for them. Something that I really noticed and that impressed me about their robot is that their drivers are really good at avoiding obstacles, as you can see in this video later on, because like their partners or opponents will just get in their way and their drivers just navigate it really well. And I think that'll be a very good strength to have later on in the season when defense starts to become more common.
Yeah, I feel like Iowa is one of those regions every year where it's not like, they're setting the world record competition after competition or anything, but in general, you just have a lot of very high performing consistent teams. So it makes it a really tough region to advance out of, and the teams that do always end up doing fairly well at Worlds. So, huge props to all of Iowa, for their competitions and the robots they build. Brewer, you want to go on to 15th?
Yep. Team 8693 Scarabs takes the 50th slot. They have a really innovative robot, in my opinion. With great results, taking 8 wins in their league in Washington. But yeah, exactly. Their sword makes moving around the field barely a challenge. I'm really curious to see how this drafting design will prove itself against the simpler ones. Let's hope it works out. The climbing mechanism is also pretty unique, them being one of the few teams I've seen that use a double duct tape measure mechanism for climbing. It's also only one tape measure, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty interesting. But what really gets me about this team is the googly eyes on the robot. You can see them in the video. I think those increase cycle times a lot.
Yeah, Brewer, as a mechanical engineer and a technical mentor, in general, I think I'd have to agree. That seems like a very good analysis of the googly eyes. But yeah, Scarabs, very, very cool robot. Another super tough league. But as you said, they've done great taking 8 wins so far. I think their next competition is also in mid-January, so plenty of time to fix little kinks here and there. And I can't wait to see what they bring to their interleagues. Yeah, Thomas, you want to go on to our 14th?
All right. Coming in at 14th, we have Team 359 Web.exe from Claremont, California. They are currently ranked first in their league, and they have one of my favorite robots this year. Some of the features of their robot include an extending active intake and an innovative claw to deposit their pixels on the backdrop with precision to increase the consistency of their mosaics. Another one of my favorite parts about the robot is their differential arm that allows them to have complete control over how they place their pixels on the backdrop. I'm super excited to see their upcoming matches and how they improve their robot in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really great summary of their robot. Again, just seeing how they do in the future. California, another traditionally very tough region. So making it out of there is going to really be something.
Yeah.
Speaking of California, we'll go on to our 13th team now, where we have Team 7303 Robo Avatars from Fremont. They are no stranger to our top 25, having made it at some point pretty much every season for the past few games. And this year, it looks like they've again went with a simple yet elegant robot for their first version. Looks like they have those angled slides, active intake, the works. Some interesting things that I see from this design is it looks like they're a bit taller than that 12-inch stage door. I believe this is why they have to go through the trusses on the way to the wing, but it allows them to swing the stage door open on the way back and takes a shorter route. Another thing is with their deposit, I see some compliance in it. This is important as I think it might help them align better with the backdrop, and they have hang, drone, all of that stuff. So looking forward to see how they do for future competitions. Yeah. Miriam, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So holding the 12th slot is none other than Team 21587, Orca Robotics from Potomac, Maryland. They were the winning alliance captain at their first qualifier last weekend, advancing them to the Chesapeake Championship. They have a very consistent endgame, scoring a drone in Zone 1 and hanging every single match. I'm really excited to see how they do this season.
Yeah, so Miriam, this is a robot you definitely got to see up close and personal. What do you think are like some of the things teams watching tonight can really take away from them?
I think consistency being the key. Definitely, like I was watching a lot of their matches, and in person, and I was just noticing, like I took notes, like every single match, Zone 1 drone and hang. So like that was just 50-point end game every single match. Definitely something that impressed me, and I think it'll definitely be very good for them later on in the season. Because I really think that, like, yes, it's good to have a high scoring robot, but consistency is like really the key in my opinion.
For sure, and especially at those early qualifiers, it doesn't really matter if you set a world record or not if you can't get to the next level, right? So I think that's definitely a great lesson for teams to take away from Orca Robotics. Brewer, you want to talk about our 11th seed?
Okay. 14496 Roboctopi from San Diego, California comes in at number 11. They had a great run at Worlds last year, and they are following up with an amazing robot in CENTERSTAGE. So far, winning five matches they played officially and placing fourth in their league. Their small robot allows for really quick movement, and they seem to have done a lot of practice. I love how well they move around the field, and they seem to never miss. You have to appreciate the skill of the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, Roboctopi always, another team that just has a very, very elegant robot. I think with this one, it's pretty interesting to me how they're turning around before every cycle. This is 100% a team that has the design qualifications and technical qualifications to implement a pass through. So it was definitely a conscious decision to do this. But, obviously it's worked out for them. They're very high ranked and just super, super quick. Um, Another thing that I'm hoping to see more information about with them is I saw on their Instagram that they made like new Mecanum wheel rollers that they claim are have a lot more traction and just are overall better. So I'm really really interested to see how those go. And getting that edge in the driving in a game that has so much full field sprints is really key. So I think it could really set them up for success. Anything to add, guys?
I agree with you about the conscious decision. It's for the not pass through route. It seems like the movement for just cycling works out really well when doing cycling on the same side.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so let's start off our top 10. For our number 10th, we have a team all the way from Australia. Team 14380, the Blue Bot Builders from Northgate, Australia. Honestly, I am so excited to talk about this team. They've done a great job with publicizing the robot this year, posting a ton of videos and everything, and I really hope we get to do it behind the bot with them this season as well. So they'll actually be competing this weekend at the Australian National Championship, and they just have such a cool design. Obviously, the deposit is what everyone's talking about. Hashtag side game, I think is what they say. And I think there's a ton of merit to that. Having the versatility that that side deposit offers you, I think is really underrated right now at this point in the season. And I think we'll see a lot more teams transition towards a design like that as they do later competitions or go for those rebuilds throughout the season. Thomas, anything to add?
Yeah, so I really love this robot design, especially because like it allows two robots to be able to score on the backdrop at one time without each other getting in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of heavy hitting teams from Australia. Robo Kings is definitely another one. Interesting, we didn't see them on our top 25 this time, but Nationals is coming up. Definitely a strong place to make a to contend for next month's top 25. Baru, Miriam, anything to add?
I personally am pretty sad it didn't come up in the video, but I love this team's hanging mechanism. It it uses some spring-loaded hooks which are coupled to the robot using magnets, and then they detach and they pull themselves out with a winch mechanism. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Thomas, why don't you go ahead with number 9?
All right. At the ninth seed, we have Team 4100 Darbots from Rome, Georgia. They are currently ranked first in their league and have really shown the quality of their team ever since the beginning of the season by having one of the first 50-point autonomous programs in early October. Darbot's robot has a very fast intake that works as a conveyor belt and drops their pixels into their hopper to be picked up by their claw. And with their claw, they're able to score really precisely and exactly where they want to on the backdrop. This robot is one of my favorites this year because it really shows that even in a complex game like Center Stage, simple robots can compete really well and sometimes even better than teams that have a really complex or really super complex robot.
Yeah, and I think another thing that 4100 has done really well this season is document how they've done everything on their robot. They have a lot of super helpful videos posted about like their drone intake, lift, so on and so forth. Miriam, what do you think about this robot?
I think this is just a really cool concept of intaking like via a conveyor belt and just having it drop cones right into your outtake like that. Just I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before, and I find it very impressive.
Hmm. Yeah, Baru, anything to add?
Honestly, I think this bot would be incredibly good with some optimizations. It's really good right now, but
Hmm. Yeah. All right, let's go on to our number 8.
Slot number 8 is occupied by Team 1356 RoboForce from Fremont, California. They haven't competed for a couple weeks, but they were undefeated at their first qualifier. Their robot features a wide intake and fast deposit, making them a great robot to place on the backdrop. It's very difficult to get such a good robot going that early in the season, and I really do look forward to seeing what they do during the rest of the season. There's obviously a lot more time left.
Yeah, Buru, you competed this weekend or in a scrimmage this past weekend. I feel like this robot really reminds me a lot of yours. So what
Yeah, it
insights do you
does.
have for it?
Yeah, what I've noticed is really different about this robot from ours is the fact that the intake is so wide. I'm honestly wondering how much that's helping them, and if so, how. It looks really quick, and it definitely scores a lot of points. So it can be bad. It can be just good.
hmm And are there any features of it that you think you could really take away and implement in your robot, or you think other teams could really look into using?
Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of teams place the pixels one by each other on the backdrop, just one over each other. Uh,
hmm
that placement definitely has its advantages, but yeah, it's just a matter of practice, honestly. Because nothing beats how much you practice in terms of efficiency.
Yeah, definitely. And RoboForce always has such great drivers each year. So really a testament to that statement. All right, coming in at seventh, we have Team 2716 Bobots from Austin, Texas. They have a really, really nice looking robot this year. Honestly, the first time I saw it, I was kind of not sure if it was a center stage bot or an ultimate goal robot. The similarities are definitely there. But overall, currently they are sixth in the teleop OPR, about 57 points. And I think that active intake and just really fast deposit are going to do wonders for them throughout the season. Thomas, is this a team you're more familiar with, being from Texas?
Yeah. I've been friends with Bobots for the past year. They're a great team. They were great last year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they perform this year, especially seeing their most recent video they posted. It looks like they were able to score about like 3 mosaics on the backdrop or something crazy like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Baru, let's go on to number six.
Okay, BeachBots from Santa Monica, California takes the sixth slot, showing innovative design choices like going with the linkage scoring mechanism instead of linear slides or the extending active intake. I'm sure this team will be very strong during the autonomous period. This, their driving is also quite snappy when you take into account how heavy their boat should be. Overall, this boat is amazing, and the results showed this, going undefeated so far in the league. Honestly, this is one of my favorite boats I've seen so far. I'm really looking forward to how they do.
Yeah, BeachBots is always another powerhouse team. Definitely end up on our T25 every season at some point. I think this year they've already shown that they have a 2+4, I believe. So can't wait for their next competition. I'm sure it'll just keep getting better and better. And it's really interesting to see how many degrees of freedom they have on
Mhm.
their deposit and how they're able to execute it so well. Yeah, I think they're coming up here on the screen right now. So looks like they went with that virtual four bar for the lift, or at least some four bar mechanism instead of the linear slides. And I think they have really really excellent control over that pretty long depositing arm. Yeah, Miriam, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just really a pretty cool robot, and it's really fast, really efficient with its cycles. Yeah, that's I really like the way it just like places really quickly. I just think overall efficient robot. I think they'll do really well this season.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into our top five, I believe we're going to start our audience giveaways and thank our show sponsor. So Tyler, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Abbas. So, yeah, let's do our giveaways first on screen. So, Abbas mentioned we have a fun t-shirt we'll give away. I don't have that up on screen, but we'll draw for that as well. And then our friends at Axon Robotics are giving away a set of 3 of the 35mm Rotocaster Omni wheels. So if you are interested in winning either of these, type the keyword Omni in for chat. Omni is your keyword. We'll draw for that after our number 1. If you are subscribed to the Fun channel, which is completely free to do, you do get 3 times luck to win. So make sure you hit that subscribe button in order to join up and stay up to date on all the awesome videos that we have coming up. We'd also like to thank our show sponsor for today, Kettering University. Did you know that over 30% of high school students were in robotics who attend Kettering University? So if you're looking for a great college that is with so many more students just like you, go check them out at kettering.edu/first. Those accepted at Kettering University can get up to $5,000 a year in a robotics scholarship. And one of the great things about Kettering University are their co-op programs where you will be placed in a job while you're at Kettering University to earn money, to pay off your student loans, or even beyond as well too. So go check them out at kettering.edu/first to learn more about Kettering University.
Okay, Thomas, why don't you kick off our top 5?
All right. Starting out the top 5 is team 10158 Scottsbots from Bogart, Georgia. This team has one of the best autonomouses in the world with a 2+2 pixel autonomous, and that autonomous is reflected by their 51 autonomous OPR score, which is currently 4th best in the world. To aid them in autonomous and to improve the reliability of their autonomous programs, they use vision to detect the stacks so they ensure that they are always lined up and able to intake reliably without incurring any penalties. In terms of their design, they have a one-of-a-kind intake, transfer, and scoring mechanism that allows them to intake and deposit with ease. And as y'all can tell, all the hard work they have put into the control and design of their robot has paid off, and they are currently ranked 1st in their league. I'm really excited to see how they continue to iterate and improve as the season goes on.
Yeah, no, another great team, Scott Spots from Georgia. I think this is another one of those cases where I really like how they posted a lot of their videos on YouTube. You know, it really helps teams understand how their robot works, how they can get better at Center Stage this year. And I can't wait to see how they do for the rest of their competitions. Yeah. Miriam, you want to talk about our 4th place team?
Filling the 4th slot is Team 19746, the disruptingly robocephalic brainstem robotics team from Austin, Texas. In addition to being the only undefeated team in their league, they are one of the few teams who already has a 2+2 auto this season. From a drop-down intake allowing easy access to the stack to a flexible deposit allowing them to drop anywhere on the backdrop, this is just a really amazing robot overall.
Yeah, I mean, 19746 South Stem, as they're known, I think was really strong last season. Making it to the semifinals of their division at Worlds as part of the number 1 alliance. This year, definitely no exception. I think it's pretty interesting how they decided to run that 6-wheel drive. It looks like from this video, and definitely going to be an advantage, I think, later as you get into limbs and later stage competitions, because they can definitely, just body other robots. Another thing, Miriam, as you mentioned, is that flexible deposit. They have a ton of degrees of freedom, another one of those side game robots, and I think that's really going to be advantageous for them. Thomas, what do you think?
Yeah, so South Stem is one of my favorite robots this year. I love their 6-wheel drive. I really think it's going to pay off for them, especially once you get to later competitions where there's going to be a lot of pushing, there's going to be a lot of shoving, there's going to be a lot of action in the center. So I really think that their 6-wheel drive and their side deposit will turn out really well for them.
Mm-hmm. And Baru, any thoughts?
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to see how that 6-wheel drive works out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, just another great robot from South Stem. They just continue exceeding expectations each year. Okay, so in 3rd place, we have team 16379, the Kooky Bots from Sammamish, Washington. They're another team that frequented our top 25 in power play, and they've built another blazingly fast robot this year. So although they aren't running a swerve drive, Their box tube extension, absurdly light robot, and effective automations really make them one of the fastest teams this season. Last year they were the first to reach that 1+10 auto. It'll be interesting to see if they can do the 2+10 or the 2+15 even first this year. What do you guys think about their robot?
Yeah, so Cookie Bots, it's been one of my favorite robots this year. I love how they use both their intake and deposit for scoring. I'm interested to see how they implement their climb and drone mechanism. Haven't quite seen that yet, but I'm sure they have it, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing as usual.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, Thomas. Getting that hang every single time will add like 20 points to their OPR. As you can see, the end game OPR is a little lacking right now. Um, but and then also, with the addition of the drone, hopefully that'll just skyrocket those scores. Baru?
Honestly, you really have to appreciate the driver practice in this video. I love how well they're moving and how they're not missing anything. It definitely shows improvement and let them learn from their mistakes. I love how well they move now.
And Miriam, anything to add?
I just think Cookie Bots, they've always been an amazing team, setting some really high scores, and I don't think Center Stage is any exception. They're just, like they have this really good robot going early in the season, very small, which I think, definitely means they're just not going to get in, makes it easy to navigate, maneuverable. A light robot is also will hopefully help them with the hang when they get that implemented. So yeah, great robot from Cookie.
For sure. Okay, Baru, you want to talk about our number 2 team?
Yes. Coming in second is Team 10255 Robotics from Zeeland, Michigan. They held the world record of 268 points for a while and 262 previously, and accomplished some impressive results. Being winning alliance captain in the 2 qualifiers they competed in, along with being in half of the top 10 scoring matches. What I really love about this job is the small but significant design choice of being able to flip their outtake arm before crossing under the stage door. Also, their hanging mechanism and scoring mechanism use the same set of slides, making it really quick. Their endgame is really good, and the pixel scoring is really well optimized. Amazing work from Team Robodogs, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, you covered pretty much all the points I was thinking. I think that's a really excellent analysis of their robot. But Robodux has just been a team, I want to say, since at least Freight Frenzy, that has honestly just been one of those Michigan powerhouses that like early season, you're going to turn on their stream and just be amazed by how efficient they are. This year is definitely no exception. I'm really, really impressed by what they've pulled off, and I can't wait to see their state competitions, which will be coming up in 2 weeks or so. So yeah, as you said, we were just really great work from Roboducks. Miriam, what do you think?
Yeah, I was watching their competition. I was just really impressed by how, they are just speeding across the field, great end game too, great auto, overall just really amazing robot. Yeah, I mean, they had the world record for a while, so that has to say something.
Yeah, for sure. And Thomas, anything to add?
Yeah, I just really love their drop down intake and how they're able to intake from the stacks so effortlessly without having to worry about like any of the stacks moving or any jams, anything like that. It's all happens in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and actually, now that you bring up the drop-down intake, I think it's a great time to talk about it. We'll see it on the screen here very shortly. When the human player places the pixels in the wing, they actually place them stacked on top of each other for RoboDucks, which I found very interesting. But obviously, it's working very well for them, so they should continue doing it. But it's definitely something other teams could look at and see if implementing that in their own robot or their own game strategy would benefit them. Yeah. Okay, so I guess it's time to talk about our number 1 team. It's probably not a huge surprise to the audience, but regardless, the number 1 team for our December top 25 is Team 19564, Marvels of Mass. They have absolutely earned this position without a doubt. From our Behind the Bot, we learned that they have built 4 full robots this season. At the same time, that interview was a couple of weeks ago, so maybe it's 5 or 6 now. Who knows? But I think one of the main takeaways from this team is the subsystem integration and simplicity in execution, right? For example, Buru, you mentioned the lead screw and how effective they've made their deposit. One of the biggest reasons they've been able to do that is because their lift is partially coupled to the lead screw, in the sense that whenever the lead screw goes up, their lift will also go up. Whenever it goes down, their lift will also drop. But if they push against the backdrop, as they do every time they deposit, the lift will naturally move up and comply with the backdrop, allowing them to deposit really effectively. Again, super simple intake, just ingenious design overall. I could talk a ton about them, but what do you guys have to say? Buru, you want to start us off?
Yeah, honestly, I was so excited to watch that Behind the Bot. Again, I thought the depositing sequence was completely automated, so seeing it work like this and finding out it's actually not, and just not even partially, it's so wild to me how consistently they're placing the exact same way and how they move so effortlessly around the field. You can see them in their matches. I think they did a lot of practice somehow just avoiding obstacles because they don't seem to be slowed down almost at all by opponents on the field. They seem to be cycling through the middle of the field as much as they do through the truss things that are colored. So yeah, they are really good. It's one of the more impressive robots this season. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and I think another thing with Marvels of Mass, having so many teams to practice with definitely makes a huge difference. And I just want to have a little bit of a backseat design conversation with everyone on air. So, if you're Marvels of Mass, what more do you do with your robot, right? Like going forward, how do you keep pushing the boundaries, scoring more points? Thomas, what do you think?
If I were them, what I would do, I would just start experimenting with some different designs at this point, because right now you have a really good design that works pretty well, and it's really fast, and honestly will probably win them some competitions. So if I were them, I would start testing out maybe some extending intakes, maybe some side outputs, maybe some stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Miriam, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think they just need to like get more flexibility with their robot. I mean, like already like, they have like a really efficient robot and everything, but I do think like if they could like make it like so they can work with a partner really well, like maybe only take up half the wing or like do like really well like taking up a small portion of the backdrop, like I think that will be really useful for them because ultimately like just like I mean I guess more relevant early on in the season because but I think if they just make it so like they're just there's no way to mess with them, that would be a really good robot.
Yeah, and Buru, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I love the idea of compliance in the scoring mechanism. I think that's something really worth exploring, not on a single axis like they do right now. And yeah, other than that,
Yeah, and from my perspective, such an incredible job from the team so far. I think if I were them, auto is definitely the next thing I'd be looking at. Teleop, you have a pretty commanding lead over, 79 Teleop OPR. The next team on that list is themselves at 75. And then after that is RoboDucks at 66, right? So you have a 13-point gap between you and the next team. That's 4 pixels, 2 cycles, a mosaic, however you want to look at it. It's a lot of points, right? So obviously, Teleop is not what you need to be looking at. And that end game, they really do have down pretty well. So can't wait to see what their auto is going to look like. Easily it could see 2+5, 2+6, what have you. But overall, just really incredible job from Marvels of Mass. I'm not going to be shocked if we keep seeing them up at these really high spots on our top 25 throughout the season. So, with that, that's going to wrap up our early season FTC top 25. What teams do you think deserve to be in the top 25 that weren't? Let us know in the Fun Discord or in the comments on the YouTube video. And don't forget to vote each month for FTC top 25. As these shows get bigger and bigger, more teams vote. It really brings the community together, introduces us to new designs, and really just furthers the game. So it's always so exciting. before we end for the night, Tyler, why don't we do our giveaways? You want to go ahead?
Yeah, we got a few giveaways to do. First off, we're going to draw for one of the top 25 teams. Axon Robotics is giving away an Axon Micro and also a B25T Servo arm set as well too. And I just rolled on the number, a random number generator, and that's going to be team in the 21st spot, and that's going to be 10644. So it's Cybugs. Congratulations. We'll get in contact with you for that on the FTC Discord or on the Fun Discord. And if anybody knows them, feel free to ping them so they reach out to us. Next up, we're going to be giving away the 35mm Rotocaster Omni Wheel set from our friends once again at Axon Robotics. And let's go ahead and draw for that giveaway. Oh, 1 second. It's going to be, Caitlin Wildhagen has won that giveaway. So congratulations on that. And then for the fun t-shirt, which is right here, which we'll send out to you, please make sure you send us a size as well, too. That's going to be Raul Verma. So congratulations to both of you, both Caitlin and Raul. Make sure you reach out to First Updates Now on our Discord, or Fun Tyler on the Discord, or admin at firstupdatesnow.com for that as well. And thanks to Axon Robotics for the great giveaways.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has just been a fantastic show tonight. Miriam, why don't you lead us on the outro?
Thank you for all the follows and subscriptions we received today. Don't forget that you can support the channel through YouTube Join to gain access to exclusive benefits. We hope you enjoyed this episode of FTC Top 25. If you want to stay connected with what First Updates Now FTC is doing, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X under Fun FTC, and join our Discord through the link in the chat.
Yeah, and on behalf of myself, Baru, Miriam, Thomas, and our producer Tyler working behind the scenes, I would just like to thank you all for tuning in. I can't believe it's all three of your guys' first time on the show. It's just been fantastic conversation, fantastic analysis. So thank you everyone for watching our show. Please keep an eye out for future new FTC content coming on YouTube and upcoming live shows as well. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. At Kettering University, over 30% of the student population was in high school robotics. These same students have received a portion of over $7 million in scholarships. Scholarship applications for FIRST students are now available. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. Check out our all-new FTC content coming to Fun's YouTube in February, including new hosts from the FTC community. We'll have resource guides, top 10 moments, behind the bots interviews, and walkthroughs to help your FTC team improve at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow, and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.